time for the business news now on France 24, and a threat from Russia to cut off supplies of gas to Europe. Our business editor Stephen Carroll joining us here on set with all the latest. Stephen.
Stuart, this is the latest escalation of threats from Moscow over its energy supplies as leaders in Europe and in the United States debate banning the purchase of Russian oil. Russia's Deputy Prime Minister has warned of catastrophic consequences for the global market if hit with an embargo. Alexander Novak says that Moscow could cut natural gas supplies through the Nord Stream 1 pipeline, which links the country to Germany. Europe gets around 40% of its natural gas from Russia and around a quarter of its oil. There is division among European leaders over banning oil imports. Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz among those against the idea. Brian Quinn has more.
Mounting tensions over Russian energy. On Monday, the country's deputy prime minister warned that a Western ban on Russian oil would be met with retaliation, including potentially shutting off the main gas pipeline from Russia to Germany.
We have every right to take a matching decision and impose an embargo on gas pumping through the Nord Stream 1 gas pipeline.
The invasion of Ukraine has already led Berlin to cancel the opening of the new Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline. But sanctions have so far mostly spared the Russian energy sector for fear of sparking a supply shock that would destabilize Western economies. As casualties mount, though, the U.S. is now considering banning the exports that provide Moscow with a crucial source of revenue.
No decision has been made at this point by the president. Those discussions are ongoing internally and also with our counterparts and partners in Europe and around the world.
European nations, though, are hesitating. The continent relies on Russia for 40% of its natural gas and nearly a third of its oil. The price of European benchmark Brent crude has already spiked to 14-year highs in recent days, hitting $139 per barrel, with European natural gas futures breaking all-time price records. Market analysts believe a ban on Russian oil would result in a significant global shortfall, potentially pushing crude prices as high as $200 per barrel.
Concerns over oil and gas supplies pushing prices higher again in trading today. For the moment, Russia's Gazprom is continuing to send gas via Ukraine and via the usual routes. The benchmark price, though, for European gas, Dutch TTF futures, up again in trading today by almost 20%, around €267. On the oil markets, we've seen prices climb yet again. Brent crude, the international benchmark, trading today over $127 a barrel. That's up 3% today. Bank of America among those warning it could reach $200. And in fact, Russia's Deputy Prime Minister saying prices could go as high as $300. This, of course, having consequences all across the economy. Prices at the pump for motorists are at record highs, including here in France. These concerns also playing out on the stock markets and trading today too. European shares starting the day in the red yet again. Now, the losses are much more moderate than what we've seen in recent days, particularly on Monday. There were very sharp falls across all of these markets, but yet again, it's oil and gas companies, the only sector seeing gains in Europe at the start of trading. Things pretty crazy on commodity markets today as well. The cost of nickel, so nickel futures, wheat futures, both hitting record highs earlier on today too. Those, of course, all linked to what's happening in Ukraine. Asian shares also affected by this same sentiment. All of the main Asian markets trading sharply in the red today as well. The concern here is, of course, inflation being fueled, effects on global economic growth and the general uncertainty around the invasion of Ukraine. Well, moving on, the World Bank has approved an aid package for Ukraine worth over $700 million. It includes loans and guarantees of almost $490 million. That's boosted by support from the Netherlands and Sweden. There are grants also as part of this package of $134 million, $100 million of that a pledge coming from the United Kingdom, and another $100 million coming in what's called parallel financing from Japan as well. This money will be used to fund essential services in Ukraine, things like healthcare, pensions and social welfare payments. Well, finally for me, while global brands like Apple and Visa have suspended operations in Russia over the invasion, pressure is mounting on others to take action. The hashtags boycott McDonald's and boycott Coca-Cola have been trending on social media in recent days. McDonald's is an interesting case. They have more than 800 outlets in Russia. It accounts for 9% of its revenue. The Chicago-based fast food giant directly owns around 80% of those restaurants in Russia. The rest are franchises. The company yet to publicly comment on the invasion, but like many others is now facing much more increased scrutiny over its business in the country.
Yeah, difficult decisions ahead. Thanks very much, Stephen. Stephen Carroll with business for us.